Hey, I'm golf broadcaster Matt Adams. The updated and expanded second edition of my book, The Golf Round I'll Never Forget, Golf's Biggest Stars Recall Their Finest Moments, is now available. Readers can expect to march with Arnie's Army at the 1960 U.S. Open, relive Jack Nicklaus's remarkable 1986 Masters win, and be amazed by the Tiger Slam. The Golf Round I'll Never Forget, Golf's Biggest Stars Recall Their Finest Moments. Pick it up where fine books are sold, including BarnesandNoble.com and Amazon.com.
Thrive Suite Productions. It's January 13th, and on this day in sports history in 1968, tragedy struck in the NHL. The Minnesota North Stars were playing at home against the Oakland Seals. North Stars center Bill Masterton skated into the offensive zone and was met by two Seals defenders. As Masterton passed to the wing, he was tripped up, and then as he was falling forward, one of the defenders caught him with a clean check, sending Masterton backward. The back of his head hit the ice with the sound a teammate would describe as like that of a baseball bat hitting a ball. Masterton was not wearing a helmet. In fact, very few hockey players wore one at this point. He was knocked out and lying motionless on the ice. He was carried off on a stretcher and quickly taken to the hospital. But the swelling of his brain was so severe, doctors could do very little. He never regained consciousness. His parents were not at the game, but that night they flew in from Winnipeg and made the heart-wrenching decision to remove their son from life support in the early morning hours of the 15th. An autopsy revealed additional damage done to the left temple area of his brain from a hit taken within days of his fatal injury, and his death was due to what is called second impact syndrome. The night before Masterton's devastating injury, he had attended a party with teammates and had complained of having migraine headaches. But knowledge of concussions was nearly non-existent at this time in history, and the NHL code of that day, and really even to this day, is you play hurt. So, did this lead directly to players wearing helmets? Well, the NHL All-Star Game was played the day after Masterton died, and players talked about helmets, which was a controversial topic to bring up. It was seen as a sign of weakness to wear a helmet. But no real mandate was put in place until June 1st, 1979, more than 11 years after Masterton's death, when the league instituted that any new player coming into the league after that date had to wear a helmet while on the ice. Those who were in the league prior to that date could choose not to. Following Masterton's death, the Minnesota North Stars set up a scholarship in his name, a tradition that carries on to this day, even though the franchise is now in Dallas. Also, the league's writers proposed and the league adopted the Bill Masterton Memorial Trophy, given each year to the player who is an example of perseverance, courage, and sportsmanship. The unfortunate part of that is it goes back to what happened on this day in 1968. Also on this day, in 1974, the Miami Dolphins beat the Minnesota Vikings to win Super Bowl VIII and become the second team in the NFL to win back-to-back Super Bowls. In 1999, Michael Jordan retired from the NBA for the second time. He would come back in 2001 to play briefly with the Washington Wizards before his third and final retirement. And in 2009, the Covenant Girls high school basketball team beat the Dallas Academy Girls 100-0. The controversy surrounding that lopsided score eventually led to the firing of Covenant's head coach, who was unapologetic in a social media post following a public outcry. That's it for today. When you have a moment, rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you tomorrow for another edition of This Day in Sports History.
Hey there, sports history fan. This is Arnie Chapman, a.k.a. the Football History Dude, and I hope that you enjoyed this recent episode presented by the Sports History Network and were able to learn some good old-fashioned sports history knowledge nuggets. I started the Sports History Network back in 2020 with the mission to help podcasters find a community of like-minded sports history nerds, as well as helping aspiring podcasters to start their own shows. We have a little bit over 30 shows on the network right now covering all sorts of sports history, but as far as I'm concerned, We're just at the toothpick in the ocean moment, that can't even figure it out because there's so much more coming. We wanted to create the ultimate headquarters for sports yesteryear, starting with Podcast Network and our website, but we're going to continue to move into other mediums as well. And here's the cool part, because we want you to be part of our team. So if you're interested in starting your own podcast, or maybe being a guest on one of our shows, or who knows, maybe even writing an article for us over on the website. Seriously, all you gotta do is reach out to us on the contact page over at sportshistorynetwork.com. You can be as technologically savvy as a Neanderthal tapping on a stone trying to figure out this whole hieroglyphics thing back in the day. Again, it doesn't matter, because even if you don't understand the whole podcast space, we have a production team that can pretty much help you out with doing everything. All you gotta do, head over to sportshistorynetwork.com, head to the contact page, fill it out. That message goes right to me, and I'll reach out to you as soon as I can. But for now, dude, I'm through if you're through.